Liam Turner, 38. A dedicated father, marketing consultant from Melbourne. Stoic, compassionate, and has worked hard to raise his daughters since his wife left. Sarah Turner, 35. A high school teacher, outgoing, confident in her sexuality after revealing her truth 3 years ago. Grew up in Sydney and returned to Melbourne for her family. Emma Turner, 10. Quiet and introverted. Very attached to her father, but emotionally conflicted about her mother's return. Sophia Turner, 8. Full of energy and life. Doesn't fully understand why her mother left, but is eager for any connection with her. Mila, 29. Sarah's current partner. Strong-willed and compassionate. Fully supportive of Sarah's choice to reconnect with her family. 3 years ago, Liam Turner stood at the edge of a cliff that wasn't physical, but emotional. Sarah, his wife, the woman he'd built a life with, turned to him one quiet evening and dropped a bomb that shattered his world in ways he hadn't imagined. She didn't yell, she didn't argue. She simply looked at him with those same eyes he had fallen in love with, the same eyes that had seen the birth of their daughters, and said quietly, "Liam, I'm a lesbian. I can't do this anymore." In the ensuing silence, the sound of their daughters laughing from the other room seemed distant, almost unreal. He had blinked, trying to understand, trying to piece together how they had gotten here. They had a good marriage, or so he thought. They had a nice home, 2 beautiful girls, Emma, then 7, and Sophia, 5. He was successful in his career, and Sarah had always been the kind of mother anyone would envy. But none of that mattered now. Her truth had ripped through him like a blade, not because of who she was, but because of what it meant. Their marriage was over. She was leaving him. She was leaving their daughters. Sarah's revelation wasn't the kind of affair or betrayal that society deemed unforgivable. But to Liam, it felt no less painful. His wife didn't leave him for another man, someone he could have compared himself to, someone he could have hated. She left him for herself, to live authentically, something he couldn't argue against. In the weeks that followed, Sarah moved out, leaving him with full custody of the girls. The transition was brutal, especially for Emma, who had always been closer to her mother. She asked questions that Liam had no easy answers to. He told them, "Mum's going away for a while because she needs to figure out who she is." But that explanation had only confused and hurt them further. Sophia, being younger, didn't quite understand why Mum wasn't there to tuck her in every night or read her a bedtime story anymore. She cried often, and when she wasn't crying, Emma was withdrawing into herself, becoming more introverted, more resentful. Liam, once a confident, assured man, now felt like a hollowed-out shell. His work became a lifeline, something to keep him going, something to distract him from the overwhelming loneliness and the immense responsibility of raising 2 children on his own. He no longer had time to think about his personal life. Every day it was about the girls, about getting them to school, helping them with their homework, and comforting them when they missed their mum. Months passed, and Sarah remained a distant figure. She had moved to a different city, Sydney, living her new life with a woman named Mila. At first, Liam hadn't known how to feel about this. He didn't hate Sarah, but he couldn't help but feel betrayed. She was supposed to be there for the girls, and now she was living a new life, happy and carefree, while he struggled to keep everything together. Mila, he learned through Sarah's occasional messages, was her support system, her guide into this new world. He couldn't deny that she seemed happier, freer, but it still gnawed at him. The girls asked about her less and less as time went on, but he knew they missed her deeply. Emma, especially, began to carry a weight on her small shoulders that no 10-year-old should. It hurt Liam to see the distance between his daughter and the world around her growing, her once bright spirit dimming in the absence of the woman she had loved the most. And then, after 3 long years of silence, the knock came. It was early on a Tuesday morning when Liam opened the door to find Sarah standing on the other side. She looked different, not just older, but more settled in herself. She was wearing a simple jacket, her short blonde hair slightly tousled from the wind. But what caught Liam off guard were her eyes, those same eyes he remembered. But now there was something behind them, regret, hope. "Hi, Liam," she said, her voice trembling slightly. He stood there, his mind scrambling to understand why she was here after so long. What could she possibly want? His first instinct was to slam the door, to protect the girls from whatever storm she was about to bring. But something stopped him. Despite everything, she was still their mother, Sarah, he replied, his voice colder than he intended. I came to talk," she said, glancing down nervously. "I want to see the girls." That simple statement sent Liam's world spinning again. It had been years since Sarah had seen them, and the thought of her reappearing in their lives just like that, like she could walk back in and fix everything, angered him. "They're at school," he replied, keeping his tone steady. "What makes you think they want to see you after all this time?" Sarah flinched, but she didn't back down. "I know I made mistakes, Liam. I left because I needed to find out who I really was, and I know that hurt you and the girls, but I've never stopped thinking about them. I've never stopped loving them." Liam's throat tightened. The pain of her words, of her absence, still lingered like an open wound. But as much as he wanted to protect Emma and Sophia from more heartache, he also knew that they needed their mother, even if it was just for closure. "They've changed, Sarah," he said softly. "Especially Emma. She's been through a lot. You can't just come back and expect everything to go back to the way it was." "I don't expect that," Sarah said quickly, her eyes pleading. "I know it's going to take time. I just want a chance to be in their lives again." Liam hesitated, but deep down, he knew this was something he couldn't deny them. They deserved to see their mum again, even if it was complicated, even if it brought back all the hurt. "I'll talk to them," he finally said, the words heavy on his tongue. "But it's going to be up to them whether they want to see you." Sarah nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank you, Liam. That's all I'm asking for." Over the next few days, Liam grappled with how to break the news to the girls. He waited until the weekend, when they were sitting around the dinner table. He'd made spaghetti, their favorite. But tonight, neither Emma nor Sophia seemed particularly interested in eating. "There's something I need to tell you both," Liam said carefully, watching their faces closely. "Your mum, she came to see me the other day." Sophia's eyes lit up immediately. "Mum's here?" she asked excitedly. Emma, on the other hand, didn't say anything. She kept her eyes on her plate, her body tense. "She wants to see you," Liam continued, trying to keep his voice steady. "But only if you want to. It's your choice." Sophia bounced in her chair. "I want to see her. I miss her." Emma remained silent for a long time, the weight of the moment pressing down on her small frame. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Why did she come back now?" Liam reached out and took her hand. "She says she's ready. She knows she made mistakes, but she wants to be part of your lives again. I'm not going to force you to see her, Emma. It's up to you." Emma looked at her dad, her eyes full of confusion and pain. "What if she leaves again?" she asked, her voice trembling. "What if she hurts us again?" Liam's heart broke at the raw vulnerability in her words. He squeezed her hand gently. "I don't know, sweetheart, but I'll be here. No matter what happens, I'll always be here." After a long moment, Emma nodded slowly. "I'll see her," she whispered. The following weekend, Sarah arrived at Liam's house, her hands trembling slightly as she stood on the porch. When the door opened, she was greeted by two faces she hadn't seen in far too long. Sophia ran into her arms, her small body colliding with Sarah's as she wrapped her arms around her mum's waist. "Mum!" Sophia cried, burying her face in Sarah's jacket. "I missed you so much." Tears filled Sarah's eyes as she knelt down and held her daughter close. "I missed you too, baby, so much." Emma, on the other hand, stood back, her arms crossed over her chest. She didn't move, didn't speak. Her eyes were wary, full of guarded emotions. "Hi, Emma," Sarah said softly, her voice thick with emotion. Emma didn't respond at first, She simply stared at her mother, as if trying to decide whether this woman in front of her was someone she could trust. After what felt like an eternity, she spoke, her voice quiet but firm. "You left." The words hung in the air like a dagger, cutting deep into both of them. Sarah's face crumpled, and for the first time in a long while, she let her tears fall freely. "I know," Sarah whispered, her voice shaking, "and I'm so sorry." Emma's lips trembled, but she didn't cry. She was older now, stronger in ways that no child should have to be. But in that moment, she still needed her mum. Despite everything, despite the hurt and the anger, a part of her still longed for that connection. Slowly, hesitantly, Emma took a step forward, then another. Finally, she stood in front of her mother, her eyes full of 1,000 unspoken emotions. Sarah held her breath, afraid to move, afraid to say the wrong thing. And then, to her surprise, Emma reached out and took Sarah's hand. "I'm still mad at you," Emma said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I missed you too." Sarah let out a shaky breath, her heart swelling with a mixture of pain and hope. She pulled both of her daughters into a hug, holding them tightly, as if she could somehow make up for all the lost time. In the months that followed, Sarah began to slowly reintegrate into their lives. At first, it was awkward. The girls had grown in her absence, and she had missed so much, but she was patient, and Liam was supportive. Co-parenting wasn't easy, especially with the baggage of the past weighing them down, but they were determined to make it work. Sarah introduced the girls to Mila, her partner, who turned out to be kind and understanding. It was a slow process, but over time the girls began to accept Mila as part of their extended family. Liam, meanwhile, found a sense of closure. His relationship with Sarah was no longer about broken promises or lost love. It was about their daughters and the new family dynamic they were creating together. He realized that, in the end, they were all just trying to do their best for the girls. As the years passed, their family evolved. It wasn't the same as it had been before, but it was something new, something better in its own way. The pain of the past never fully disappeared, but they learned to live with it, to grow from it. And one evening, as Liam watched his daughters laugh and play in the backyard with Sarah and Mila, he realized that sometimes the most unexpected reunions can lead to the most beautiful outcomes. Thank you for staying with us on this emotional journey of love, loss, and rediscovery. Sometimes the hardest roads lead to the most beautiful destinations. What did you think of Liam and Sarah's story? How would you have handled the situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this. Your thoughts are always welcome.